Hi everyone, my name is Courtney Gill. I am a registered dietitian and welcome to our YouTube page. I am here today to talk to you about pantry cooking. This is my son, he's 10 and he wants to be involved, as I'm sure all of you at home are dealing with as well. So right now I'm going to talk about how to utilize the items in your pantry to make some meals. In future videos we'll also talk about quick meal preparations from these items as well. So today, if you have gone through your pantry items, like some of the items that we have are already opened, you probably didn't need to restock at this point. I know I do with 2 growing boys at home and everyone's snacking a lot. So some of the items I'll be talking about I don't actually have here, but for most of them, they're all here, and we'll talk about specifics on which are the better options to buy in each category. So first I'll start with spices. Spices are really important because that's how you're going to add all the flavor to cooking and make it not taste the same every single time that you're cooking. If you are not familiar with cooking with spices, which spices to blend together, try to buy some spice blends already done for you that kind of have some of your favorites in them. Mrs. Dash and some other unsalted lines are great because there's no salt added and it's just the spices themselves. So definitely you want to make sure that you have, at the bare minimum, my favorites are always to have black pepper, crushed red pepper, ginger, and garlic. But you can pretty much use anything that you like. Olive oil and olive oil sprays are important. In a couple of my classes in the past, I've talked about the olive oil sprays that have the propellant in, that don't have the propellant in them. A lot of the options like Pam or some of the store brands have propellant, which you want to make sure that you're not always kind of using with your food and that you are not spraying directly onto your food. These pressurized olive oils are great because you can spray them and directly on the food if you're roasting something or in the pan, and there's really no concern of any additives. It's just the olive oil itself. Any kind of oil is great. You need it in hand on your pantry to, for heart-healthy cooking. Be mindful, 1 tablespoon of olive oil is 100 calories, so we know that that adds up quickly. Calories add up quickly, and when you're cooking at home, and a lot of us are kind of gearing more towards comfort foods, you want to be mindful of how much fat that we are adding. Typically, I recommend to do no more than 1 tablespoon per 2 servings, and that will keep it low fat. Next, we kind of moved into the canned foods. Canned foods are a great option because they are shelf stable. Obviously, they're not going to go bad. And for a long time as healthcare professionals, I think specifically dietitians, we didn't recommend canned goods because of the high salt content, or with the canned fruits, the high sugar content, but they've come a long way. So it's just really about reading the labels and what you're looking for. I always have canned tomatoes on hand. That is a big piece of the puzzle for lots of my recipes, and specifically if I don't know what I'm going to cook. I know one of Thaddeus's favorite meals is
Chalacos!
Chalacos, which we've kind of deemed and blended together chili and tacos. So basically I just make chili from whatever is in the pantry, whatever is in the fridge, and then we put it in taco shells. This is really important right now because I think a lot of us have recipes that maybe we like, but maybe you've run out of certain ingredients, maybe you've gone to the store and you can't get the ingredients that you're really looking for, and you don't have to be so pigeonholed and so picking the same things all the time. Be free with kind of what you add in. Chili, Chalacos is something that we make that is a clean out the refrigerator kind of day, use whatever I have on hand. So the types of beans I throw in could be chickpeas, black beans, red beans, white beans. I could use meat, I could use ground beef, I could use ground turkey, or maybe I don't use any meat at all. You can use ground seitan or shredded seitan as a plant-based alternative, or quite frankly just add no protein in it and use the bean protein in the chili. Canned tomatoes you need to have on hand for this, for soups, for stews. You can use it as a base for if you're going to make your marinara, own kind of sauce and a pasta. It really is versatile. So whenever you're choosing your canned tomato products, and really any canned vegetables, you want to make sure that you're choosing no salt added when possible, or that you're choosing low sodium. Low sodium typically means no more than 140 milligrams per serving. When you're looking at the labels, One thing I will tell you is that a lot of the brands can vary. So this one specifically doesn't say anything on the front. This is just the standard store brand crushed tomatoes. But when you actually look at the back of the label, it's only 90 milligrams of sodium per serving. So naturally, this is a low sodium product and a great option. So you don't necessarily have to buy the low sodium. So if you're in the store and you're feeling like overwhelmed, the options are less limited right now. You're not, all those choices that you normally are looking at aren't there. You know, just flip over the back of the label. A lot of the options are great. And quite frankly, in general, these are rules of thumb that I follow, but when all the selections aren't available, you just have to kind of make do. And then when we restock our pantries after we're all kind of back to normal life, then, you know, we'll look a little more close at the labels to make sure your sodium's lower. Low sodium is, like I said, 140 milligrams of sodium or less per serving. And for items like the canned beans that I have down here, you know, not all the varieties come in low sodium or no salt added. And the reason why is because they they're just not as frequently purchased. They're not as in demand. So you can only get the regular variety, and that's okay. Get them, rinse them, drain them and rinse them, and you'll be able to cut the sodium by 30%, which can, you know, really be a significant amount. Kind of moving on with the canned and dried fruits. Having fresh fruits available, our produce is great. I think in the beginning of the week when we made our shopping and we all stocked up, we had a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables, and now you might be kind of dwindling down a little bit like I am. And now I'm utilizing more of my frozen products and my canned goods and dried products. So when you're choosing your dried fruits, these are great options as long as there's no sugar added. So things like raisins, craisins, dried apricots, anything, dried mango, anything like that. Just make sure you're looking at the ingredient list and it says raisins and nothing else. It says mango and nothing else. You don't want any added sugar, and then it's just as good as really having the fresh variety. And that goes as well with frozen. You know, so stock up on your frozen berries, peaches, your frozen fruit blends, and just make sure that there's no sugar added. The only thing that's in the ingredient list itself is the fruit. Things like our apple sauces and our pureed fruits are great. They're a quick snack, part of a snack for kids, and you know, to go along with a meal as well. And you just want to make sure you're getting unsweetened or natural. So again, there's no sugar added. So really the theme here is when you're buying packaged goods, middle aisles, limit the salt, limit the sugar. One of the things that you really want to have on hand too is unsalted stocks or low sodium stocks. Whether it's stock or broth, whether it's vegetable-based, beef-based, or chicken-based, this is a great use. It adds tons of flavor to your meals, whether you're sauteing your proteins, your chicken, if you're making a soup or stew, if you're doing a crock pot meal, you're gonna need them. And it really enhances the flavor versus just using water. Another great thing about having the unsalted stocks on hand is that if you're trying to reduce the amount of oil that you're cooking with, as you're sauteing, so that the food doesn't stick to the pan. Traditionally, if you're sauteing mid-saute, you'll kind of need a little extra oil to finish sauteing. And then you're adding extra fat and extra oil. But if you add a little stock, the food can continue to cook but not stick, and you'll actually lower the fat content. So doing unsalted, low sodium stocks on hand is a good thing to pretty much always have in your pantry. Kind of moving on now, I hit on the beans. Beans are a great plant-based protein for our meals. They have lots of fiber. They're also great to roast. You know, if you're looking for a quick snack, we roast chickpeas in our house pretty regularly, and we use whatever spice blends that we like. You can roast edamame, really lots of different things. You can also use the beans to make bean dips if you're looking for a different kind of a snack, if you're kind of sick of what's in the snack drawer. You can do things like that with your beans. Black beans, white beans, chickpeas, they all really blend really nicely for a dip. And you can use crudité or you know, whole grain pretzel sticks or pita chips. Nuts, we want to make sure that we have them. They're a great plant-based protein as well. Watch your portion when you're eating them. 1 ounce, which is about a 1/4 cup as a serving, kind of a little bit goes a long way. And just make sure you're trying to get like the lower sodium, no salt added varieties. You can toss them into salads, have them in your oatmeal. They add a good amount of protein, and then you know, you won't have to be pulling necessarily at dinner time for necessarily a chicken or turkey or pork chops. You can just kind of do nuts and maybe some cheese in your salad, and you'll get enough protein to stay satisfied. Pasta, I mean, we all love pasta. You want to be careful about your quantity. You know, my first choice is to try to choose pastas that are whole grain. And really with any of my grains, breads, cereals, oats, hot cereals, pastas, rices, I'm looking for things that are higher in fiber. Did you bring me the rice up from downstairs? No. Okay. So we have brown rice, which is unpolished brown rice. And the reason I choose that is because the fiber is high. When brown rice is polished, the fiber is actually reduced, and it's pretty similar to white rice. So just something to keep in mind when you're looking at your rices. Whole grain, typically we want half of our grains in the day to be whole grain. And an easy way to look at that is when I'm buying my bread, cereal, crackers, pastas, rices, and noodles, I'm looking at the back of the label and I want the dietary fiber to be 3 or higher. If the fiber is 3 or higher, I pretty much know it's a whole grain and a good choice. With pastas, I mean, of course, we can get these great pastas that are super high in fiber, like the bean-based pastas, and then you don't even have to add a true protein per se from the meat or dairy group to the meal. You can simply just be completely plant-based with the beans, bean-based pasta, because the protein in this is about 25 grams, which is great. Traditional pasta, also not a bad choice. It's just about quantity. So try to stick to a cup and then make sure that you're kind of adding some veggies and some protein to the meal itself so you stay satisfied and you don't have to eat half the box, which is kind of the problem with pasta, right? We have a hard time portion controlling, but if you have enough protein in that meal, it's not as hard to portion control. When you're looking at your whole grain pastas, our favorite pasta is the Ronzani Smart Taste. It's a purple box, and the reason we like that is because it looks like white pasta, it tastes like white pasta, but it's got I think 4 or 5 grams of fiber. I can't remember specifically. We don't have any in the house because we've eaten it, but that is probably my go-to pasta. That's one everybody likes, and no one knows that it's whole grain. So things like that are great options. And all of this information is going to be in the handout that you can find on the Teams app, or near this video you should be able to download the handout that has all these details that I'm talking about. Kind of rounding out what's in your pantry, some other easy quick protein options: canned tuna, canned chicken, obviously tuna salad, chicken salad. You can throw those into casseroles. You know, once you're kind of done your fresh meats, which a lot of the stores are out of chicken now. It's good to have like the canned chicken on hand. Try to get the low sodium variety when you can. Right now we may not be able to on the shelves, but you know, just you can drain and rinse them also and kind of decrease the sodium a little bit. They work great on top. You can throw it on top of salads. You can throw it into pasta. Actually, the canned chickens and canned tunas work great in pastas as well. Cold pasta, warm pasta dishes, all good options. Peanut butter, just like nuts, easy, quick protein option. Try to choose the natural when possible, just so there's no added sugars in there and no trans fats. We like this one because you don't have to mix it. It stays emulsified. The other natural peanut butter is the oils on the top and you just have to mix it each time. It just becomes messy in the kitchen with kids, so I buy this one. And this is one of our favorite peanut butters actually too for a quick, easy snack. I think we all need a little bit of sweet. Nutella is notoriously super high in sugar, but this peanut butter company dark chocolate peanut butter blend is really low in sugar. It only has 7 grams of sugar, and it tastes really yummy. It's like dark chocolate, so you can have this with apples, whole grain pretzels. We like it just as like a peanut butter and banana sandwich, but with this. So this is a great option to have in the pantry. And then kind of rounding out over here is the dairy. So, you know, dairy, we should have at least 3 dairy servings a day. When we're running low on our actual dairy, fresh dairy, I make sure that I always have the shelf-stable dairy. So I have the unsweetened, well, I have vanilla soy milk here for the boys, but if I'm going to have it, I'm choosing the unsweetened plain soy milk or the unsweetened vanilla. You can get the other non-traditional milks like nut milks and grain milks are great too. Just trying to make sure you're choosing those without the added sugars in them, but having these on hand for when you run out of the fresh milk or fresh dairy options so that you can still have cereal, you can still have oatmeal, have it in your coffee, etc. It's important to kind of keep these on hand as well. And of course we have a little bit of chocolate because we're all stressed out. You need something at the end of the day. So we've got our dark chocolate here. 55% or higher is the goal. 70% or higher has antioxidants. So you're looking for about 1 ounce serving. And then, you know, the kids love Hershey Kisses, so of course I have them for them as well. Limiting quantity also. So this is a little bit of our, you know, soccer pantry. The handout you'll be able to find. Any questions that you have, please reach out to me at cgill.wellness@gmail.com. And I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. Hopefully this helps you out for items that you're going to restock when you go to the store, or to help utilize some of the items that you have currently in the house. All right, from our house to yours, stay sanitized, stay healthy. See you guys later.
Bye.